I said, I was going to anyway. You say it. He answered, no, I want you to say it for me. We'll see how people react.
On the 1st of October, Russian bombers attacked Grozny, the capital of Chechnya. With Berezovsky's state TV and the population behind him, Putin throws Russia into a ferocious war. The Chechen people are the victims of unprecedented barbarity.
Putin showed that he was capable of making a firm political stand and of taking difficult political decisions. He showed that he was the ideal military leader for the country.
Satisfied with his conduct, the family decide to create a political party for Putin in the next parliamentary elections. There are 2 months to go. Made to measure by Boris Berezovsky, Unity, later to become United Russia, has a single item on its agenda: the promotion of Vladimir Putin. If his party wins, he will be confirmed as a legitimate successor to Boris Yeltsin. The state TV and Abramovich and his oil company Sibneft provide media and financial support.
This time, Guzinski and his station NTV, who are against the war in Chechnya, support Putin's main rival, the former Prime Minister, Evgeny Primakov. Berezovsky sinks to the lowest tricks to discredit the enemy.
For sure, we used election technology, which are very specific in Russia. We use power of mass media, not in a soft way like you use it on the West, in very strong and very hard way.
Mission accomplished for Berezovsky. Unity's score confirms Putin's political dominance. Everyone gets ready for the New Year's Eve festivities, unaware that behind the Kremlin walls, Yeltsin and his Prime Minister, Vladimir Putin, are preparing the final act to the strategy of these last months. On the 31st of December, Yeltsin summons Putin to his office, gives him the nuclear attaché case, and names him president by interim until the presidential elections. For his part of the deal, Putin offers Yeltsin and his family total immunity and a large pension for life. A way for Yeltsin to avoid destitution and legal pursuit for his crimes against the state.
What Yeltsin probably didn't realize is that Putin is loyal to his mission and not towards the men he has served. For him, Yeltsin is guilty of dismantling the Soviet Union, of losing the First War in Chechnya, and of leading Russia towards auto-destruction. It was essential to remove him from power, once and for all.
Последний раз обращаюсь к вам как президент России. Я ухожу.
On New Year's Eve, crowds pressed to the Bolshoi Theatre in Moscow to catch a glimpse of Yeltsin's chosen successor. In vain. The presidential box remains empty. Putin has lost no time in publicly showing his priorities. He and his wife have left the city the same evening to join the troops on the Chechen front. In front of the television cameras, he offers the soldiers 200 daggers, especially engraved for the occasion. A symbolic present for the men who are fighting the Chechen guerrilla.
Symbolically also, Putin has laid the first brick in his presidential election campaign. His image makers now have to make him a charismatic figure that will charm the Russian electorate.
What we advised him to do was to show he was in good health compared with Yeltsin. We advised him to show he could pilot a fighter plane or go down in a submarine.
Putin is a quick learner. He learns how to appear in public He's a good sport and appears to be a perfect gentleman. He even shows that he can smile. Radio programs receive thousands of love letters from women infatuated with the new Russian hero.
While Putin takes part in village fetes, the violence of the Chechen war, an important element in his campaign, intensifies. The massacre in Chechnya doesn't stop the Orthodox Church from supporting Putin. In spite of Soviet repression, the population is still strongly religious. Putin, the man of modest origins, makes it known to the people that he still wears the tin cross given to him by his mother at his christening.
Now he is very religious, and he speaks, confessing to the Patriarch himself, to the head of the Russian Orthodox Church. The Patriarch has been for 40 years agent of the KGB. And who is the case officer of the Patriarch? General Patrushev, head of the KGB. So the Patriarch tells Mr. Patrushev about everything. And Mr. Patrushev is visiting the next day the president and telling him everything. It is like a joke.
He started to appeal to all people around him. He started to appeal to reformers, to liberals, to Democrats, to nationalists, to statists, to Russians and Muslims. And a lot of people considered him as their own guy. He's just a guy from our street.
Only the head of the Communist Party, Gennady Zyuganov, remains a serious contender for Putin. Other candidates hardly dare criticize him. He seems to represent everything the population could desire. To further convince electors, Putin presents his manifesto, entitled Russia on the Brink of the Third Millennium. He promises to make the country autonomous and respected in the world. Not only the Russian electorate, but also the West discover Russia's new face, or so they think.
Putin's manifesto, with which he introduced himself to the Russian electorate as a presidential candidate, rather than just, the hero of the Chechen crackdown, was a stunning document. It was broadly liberal. It had a vision of a Russian institutional evolution that made it quite possible to think of Putin as a Westernizer.
Western politicians are mistaken. Putin's political vision is different from anything in the West. He indeed promises to reform justice and the institutions, but he also talks of a managed democracy and the vertical of power. He combines without any hesitation contradictory values such as liberalism and statism, democracy and dictatorship. Both in Russia and abroad, people only see the mark of someone capable of putting an end to political and economic chaos.
These elections are all but a remake of the 1996 poll. But if Zyuganov had his chances against the ailing Yeltsin, this time he has lost before he starts. Putin graciously uses him as a sparring partner to guarantee his own victory.
What is the choice? Either it will be a communist leader, Zyuganov, or it will be a KGB colonel. I mean, is that the choice? Is that a real election?
On March the 26th, 2000, Vladimir Putin is elected outright in the first ballot with a 52% majority as President of the Federation of Russia.
Клянусь уважать и охранять права и свободы человека и гражданина. Соблюдать и защищать Конституцию Российской Федерации. Защищать суверенитет.
Beyond these ceremonious words, Vladimir Putin, the man from the KGB, has not forgotten the teenage dream and his mission to restore the nation to its former power. His goals are to develop the strategic resources for the state, oil, gas, the media, other industries.